Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Share Your Story with Ellie. I'm your host, Ellie B, and I am so glad you've joined me today. Thank you so much for all your sweet support over our recent episodes, and I'm so glad you're loving these conversations. As always, I'd love to know more about what you're loving about each of these episodes, but I'd also love to know, who do you want to see? Is there a series you want to cover? Maybe something specific in accordance to a topic, or maybe you have a person that you think I should share their story. I would love to know all of those comments, so please feel free to leave them in the Spotify notes or on Instagram. I'm always happy to connect with more people and share more stories. Today on the show, you just have me. Due to needing to shift some schedules around, today is just me sharing a few of my favorite things on the podcast, and I will completely trust in the Lord's timing that He arranges who is supposed to be on the show and when at the appropriate time. So I am so excited to be here with you, just me today. So as I kind of mentioned, I was really inspired after listening and talking with Hannah to share some of the things that I'm really loving right now. So I picked a couple of categories. I originally was trying to call it 5 on 5, but ended up expanding into 7 different categories just to share some of the stuff that I'm really loving right now. I love getting recommendations from trusted sources, and that's usually how I end up getting influenced to buy products or even just try new things out. So I figured it'd be kind of a fun way to show you what I am really loving right now, especially in this season. So I've got 7 categories. First is content, second, spiritual, third, food and drink, because always, fourth, beauty, fifth, products and brands that I'm really loving, 6 is wellness, and finishing it up with what I am learning. So I am excited to dive in on those categories, and I will be sure to share all of this information on our Instagram, as well as much as I can in the show notes. So be sure to check it out there. First things first, I want to share 5 pieces of content I'm really loving. And I could honestly probably make this category a list of 125 pieces of content that I'm loving, because I feel like I'm constantly consuming between my job and marketing, as well as just general interest. And yes, I know I definitely spend way too much time on TikTok, but can't help it. Can't help it. I love it so much. Well, I can't help it. I'm trying to be better, but still love it. So 5 pieces of content I'm really loving. First is the show Trying on Apple TV. Kelsey and I, my roommate, went to go on Apple TV to look at the new show with Jake Gyllenhaal, and we're immediately stressed out and terrified. So we tried to start looking for other options that we could watch and stumbled upon this show Trying, which when I think back at it, I also think Connor Wood Fibula, if any of you know him from TikTok and his podcast and whatnot, I think he recommended it as well. So Trying is on Apple TV. It follows a couple who is trying to get pregnant, then trying to adopt. And it's actually been out since 2020. Based in London area, so they have the cutest accents, and it reminds me a lot of Ted Lasso in the humor and the characters, and they really handle pretty delicate or tough topics in a sweet, comical way. The character building is phenomenal. They're only 28 to 32 minute episodes, and there's usually a happy ending on each episode, which for a person that just feels a lot of anxiety and stress throughout their day, it is such a sweet place to come and just laugh and appreciate all the little intricacies of the characters and the storylines, and I cannot recommend it enough. There's really not anything super inappropriate or violent or anything like that. It's just really, really sweet, and I highly, highly recommend. Second on my list is Twister. We just went and saw it this weekend, and yes, I will admit the first reason I went is for Glenn Powell, because I love him and everything he does, and since a long time. Hello, he was in Hidden Figures and the Potato Peel Pie Society. Anyway, loved it. It was incredible. A true action movie. I think we read a post by Jefferson Bethke that he just called it 10 out of 10 because there's absolutely no agenda to the storytelling. There's no crazy romance, any of that. It's just a really good look at a place in America coming together to try to solve a problem, and the romance is good, but it's like a slow burn, which I appreciate so much more these days because it's not so in your face and out there. Third on my list, which I guess these really aren't in order of importance because all of them are amazing. But my dear friend Megan, who has been on the podcast before, and we'll make sure to link to her previous episode, is releasing a book called You Are Not Behind in September. And because the book comes out in September, you can already pre-order, and she offers a lot of bonus content. So once you pre-order the book, you can submit your order number, and she offers the first 3 chapters to go ahead and read, as well as 4 bonus podcast episodes that she goes through and dives deeper into some of the topics that she covers in her book. The whole topic around You Are Not Behind is super important to me personally, but I know to pretty much everyone in an age of comparison where we can constantly see what everyone is up to online. It always causes this moment of self-reflection of I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And that can be in as small of way as not, I don't know, owning the clothes that you wish you want, to wishing, in my case, I was married. So I think the subject in general is a tough one to navigate, but Megan does it so beautifully. And these mini podcast episodes have been so life-giving to me because she is not trying to sugarcoat it with something overly spiritual, but she just shares the wisdom she's gained in walking through it herself. So I cannot recommend her book enough, even if I've only read the first 3 chapters. So definitely pre-order it. You can pre-order wherever you get books. You Are Not Behind by Megan Ryan Asbury, and definitely submit to get that bonus content. It's amazing. Next on my list is returning to some of my old classic TV shows. You heard me talk about it with Hannah. Love the show Reba. It was a staple in our household growing up. Just precious, sweet, ridiculous, hysterical, huge fan. And I'm also returning to my roots in The Office. I used to watch The Office on repeat for years, and after it left Netflix, it's been a while since I've been able to watch it consistently. So shout out to Madeline. Thank you for giving me your Peacock login. And I am back to binging all 9 seasons. It is just the best. I love it so much. I laugh out loud still. I notice new things in the show still, even though I could probably recite the whole thing from front to back. And last but not least in the content category is Pinterest. I am loving getting back on Pinterest. I did have to go back and delete a lot of very old and outdated pins. They let you do that, or you can archive old boards. I'm talking bubble necklaces, chevron, craft projects, all of the above that just no longer apply, and thank the Lord that they do not. But getting back on Pinterest and dreaming again about little house projects or even travel and outfit inspiration, it helps that it is not connected to anyone you know, and it's more about creating and imagining and dreaming new things. It helps to not be told by people what you should wear, what the style is right now, but you can kind of explore on your own and test what works. And I'm loving that capability to be able to scroll and look through things without a pressure to purchase or compare myself to someone else I know. So highly recommend getting back on Pinterest and cleaning up those old boards. Okay, next category, which I kind of rearranged from that original list, is food and drink. Some of the things that are sticking out to me right now: 1, alkaline water. I have always been a fan. I feel like back when the Kardashians used to drink their essential water, I tried it out, loved it, but never really made it a staple in my household. Now Costco sells their own alkaline water. It's so good. And I don't use it for everything because it is single-use plastic, and I respect that. I have a giant Stanley that I carry around everywhere, but it just tastes different. It really is so good. And to have it once or twice a week, keeping those large bottles in the fridge, and you can refill them and whatever, but gosh, it's so good. Second on my list, smoothies. I have been on such a smoothie kick, and my recipe is really simple. It really is only 4 ingredients. I feel like a different person. Part of it is probably a little elitist is a strong word, but every time I walk into work with a smoothie, I'm thinking I've already had a full serving size of spinach. I've had coconut water, which is good for me. I've had protein, which is good for me. I've had fruit. I just feel like a better person, and I do feel like I notice a difference in my skin and my overall health, like just feeling leaner. And it's so refreshing, especially when it's so hot in Florida over the summer. So smoothies is a big one. Next one, heirloom tomatoes. I got really into them last year. Heirloom tomatoes on toast with some cottage cheese for some protein. Drizzle a little olive oil, salt, pepper. It is so simple and so good, and I cannot get enough. I could really eat it every single day. Thirdly is summer salads. There's one recipe that I put on my Instagram story yesterday that I found on TikTok. I can't stop making it. It's so good. It feels fresh every single time you have it. And it's one of those that you can make and put in the fridge and have it for days, and it doesn't get soggy. It actually just gets more marinated and better. And on that same subject, honestly, just easy meals like breakfast for dinner, tacos, just making things that are really, really simple so you can spend more time reading outside, just enjoying this little small things of summer. And a hack for that too is I've been really into the Costco chicken nuggets because they have really great protein. And if you throw them in the air fryer and then throw them on top of a salad, you don't feel so like, ugh, I'm just eating vegetables, and gets your protein in. Lastly, in this category, the drinks that come as a surprise to no one. A very crisp cold rosé during summer, margarita always, and I'm really into Cosmos. And I was in before Sex and the City and Carrie came back onto Netflix and back in the zeitgeist, but they're just refreshing, tart, big fan. Great summer drink. Next category, beauty. I, yes, have been influenced, but I can 100% say that it is worth the hype. Rhode by Hailey Bieber is incredible. I currently have only one of the pocket blushes, and I love it. It's an incredible formula. I feel like it's really, really good on my skin, lasts for a really long time, and I think her peptide lip tints are the most hydrating of any product that you use or that I've used when it comes to lip balm or anything like that. Huge fan. I want all of them. I really want to try out her skincare products. I haven't let myself purchase a bunch of stuff yet, but so far so good. Everything that she's posted about truly lives up to the hype. Next is the Honest CC cream. Back in, I think, March, when we had a codependence reunion in Houston, Madeline was really talking to us about her clean products, and we started scanning some of our makeup and beauty products, and the CC cream that I'd been using for, I am not kidding, probably 6 years. We looked it up and had quite possibly one of the worst ratings you could have for all of the things like allergen, cancer-causing ingredients. I mean, you name it, it was in this thing, and I was devastated. My mood completely fell as we were looking through all of our products. So it's taken me a process to start, once I ran out of something, replacing with something else. And you can get this Honest CC cream on Amazon and also at Target. I picked it up at Target. It is part sunscreen, part lotion, and has moisturizer, and has a really good color base. I feel like it has a significant amount of coverage. So at first I kind of got it to use on those days that I just don't want to do a full face of makeup and maybe put it on before I go out in the sun. But I have been using it every single day as my foundation, and I really think my skin has reacted really well to it. So highly, highly recommend. Third in the beauty category is Dibs. I started seeing a bunch of TikToks about it, and I think a few different people will post about it, but it's Dibs Beauty. I really love their contour wand. On one side is a bronzer, the other side is a blush. So it's essentially two products in one. The formula is really great. It goes on really, really smooth. It's very easy to blend. And they usually are running a sale of some sort. So definitely recommend that because it's really a 2-in-1 product that makes makeup so simple and easy. Fourth is something I was served on TikTok last year, and I can't stop talking about it. I just bought my second one. It's a company called Carrot Sun, and it's out of the UK. It's a balm that you put on your skin after you apply sunscreen that helps keep your color lasting. I love to lay out at the beach, love to lay out by the pool, love to have that bronze color without getting burnt. And the Carrot Sun has very natural ingredients, and you put it over your sunscreen, and it just helps to keep the color of your tan lasting for a long time. I remember last year in New York when I was there for work, end of September, someone had asked me, did you go and get a spray tan or go to a tanning bed before you came up here? And it was really, I hadn't been in the sun in a month, but my color just lasted a really long time. It doesn't smell bad. It leaves your skin feeling really moisturized, and it really, really works. Highly, highly recommend. Last is the Kosas Dream Beam sunscreen. It's a great glowy sunscreen, cleaner product. Thank you, Madeline, for making me go through more research. And it's good underneath makeup. It's good just for a light makeup look or to wear on the beach. It has a slight glow to it, but nothing too extreme, but great coverage. Highly recommend. Kind of in the same category, 5 products or brands that I'm really loving. First, maybe one day we'll shut up about it, but it's not going to be anytime soon. The Hatch alarm clock. I cannot get enough. It has changed the game when it comes to morning routine, nighttime routine. I'm obsessed. I love it. And kind of with that, another Amazon purchase that I have been obsessed with, I bought it in the fall of last year, is a candle warmer. Essentially, it's a pretty looking lamp that you leave plugged in. You can set it on a timer, turn it on and off, whatever, but you put your candle underneath it and it just melts the wax to give off the scent of your candle. It keeps your candles 10 times as long because you're not burning through something where the wick disappears or it melts in a funny way. It's just a little light bulb that is right over the candle. You can smell it throughout the entire house. It's amazing. I love it so much. Second brand that has had quite the resurgence, at least in my personal life, Old Navy. I am loving their t-shirts. There's a dress that I got that I wear to work a lot, just black, easy to throw on. Stuff that if you're headed to work and want to be really comfortable, or getting off the beach or the pool or anything like that where you want to feel put together, but you don't want to get things ruined, I cannot recommend them enough. And they're always running a sale. I think the other day I got an email that they were doing $4 on all shirts. So trying to be budget friendly, Old Navy has really upped their game when it comes to on-trend styles. And there's so much they constantly update. So do yourself a favor, go back to Old Navy again if you missed out like me. Third is J. Crew. They went through quite the downhill turn for a while, but it is coming right back up. I haven't bought a ton of stuff from them, but I glanced through their website a lot. I got the cutest little heart bag that I really, really love, just a casual bag to be able to carry around. And a lot of their styles are back to just those classic silhouettes, a lot of stripes, bright colors, so much cute stuff. Same honestly goes for Abercrombie. They've done such a good job of kind of listening to what the current trends and styles are and delivering high quality for not an insane price. I cannot get enough of wearing my linen pants from them. It feels like wearing pajamas. You're that comfortable, but it's really light, breathable, and everyone always compliments me that I look so put together and professional when I wear them. But genuinely, it feels like pajamas. So especially their linen stuff, cannot recommend enough. Last on the list is Nuuly. I have done Nuuly for probably 3+ years now. And for those who are unfamiliar, it is a clothing rental brand. You pay one flat fee and get 6 pieces a month. And if you like the pieces, you can purchase them at a discounted option, or you just send them back, get 6 new items the next time. I love it because it makes me feel like I can refresh styles a lot without spending a lot of money. It's a fixed cost, but I get at least 6 new pieces in my wardrobe every single month. I usually wear them out. Like once they come in, I wear almost exclusively those pieces for the next month, but it could not be more worth it, especially right now. I'm loving all of the pieces by the brand Farm Rio that they sell at, on their website, but it's really popular line also sold at Anthropologie, and their dresses themselves are like $260, and that's way under what you get for your flat Nuuly fee, but the styles are so beautiful. It's very summery, great patterns, great silhouettes. I love them, and I'm constantly talking myself out of, you don't need to purchase it, you can just rent it again. But so many good things on Nuuly, especially if you're going on a trip or even for the office. I just love it. Next category is wellness. This is a broad category, and it's not Bible, but just things that have really worked well for me. Number 1, walking. I love to walk, especially with the Bala bands, as Hannah and I talked about last week. just throwing on weights around my wrists or my ankles just for that extra element of exercise. I have been trying to get up and walk Annie, my golden retriever, in the morning, and then I go for another 2 miles. It is what consistently I feel like makes me feel the best, especially in the morning if I can listen to worship music or a podcast, something that just starts my morning feeling like I've accomplished something, but also woken up my mind. I've been back to getting as many steps as I can, hopefully around 10,000 a day, but especially a 2 mile walk in the morning has been a lifeline for me. Second is the Sculpt Society. I am familiar with Megan Roop and used to do some of her workouts just as YouTube videos, but at work we did a partnership with her last year and were offered a month free of her Sculpt Society program. $20 a month, very low impact but high energy workouts. She offers every format from 7 minutes to tone your arms to 45 minutes advanced full body. But the technique reminds me a lot of Pure Barre, which I did for a really long time. And she also offers dance cardio, which the dancer in me loves. So it feels like you're performing, but you get a really strong cardio workout. And there's just a lot of varying levels as well as availability for classes that I can schedule on my own time. So even if I only have 5 minutes to do an app workout, there's a video for that. So I highly recommend the Sculpt Society. Third on the list are element packets. I am definitely not the greatest at hydration. My mom used to call me a camel, that I just never had to drink water. But I've since become much better at that, especially with my Stanley. But being hydrated is different from drinking a lot of water. So the element packets are really high in electrolytes. Brooke and Tyler turned me on to them a couple of years ago, but they have become such a lifeline, especially when it's so hot out. I love to put an element packet in water at the beach, and it truly does satisfy my thirst. Not just from a, hey, this tastes good, or try to get some extra hydration, but I truly feel satisfied with it and really feel better, especially if you wake up dehydrated with a headache or something like that. Element packets save the day. Fourth is I've been loving, just in whatever downtime I kind of have, to find small little movements that I can add just toning or whatnot. So if Annie is running around outside and smelling something, I will do an old Pure Barre arms workout, or maybe while I brush my teeth, I'll do calf raises or something, which I don't even know why that sounds like something I've been loving or a favorite worth sharing, but it's just reminded me that even when I don't feel like I have enough time, there are little things I can do that make a difference along the way. Last but not least is rest and recovery, which, if you've heard me talk on this podcast a lot, neither of those things come naturally to me. So reminding myself that pausing and giving myself time to just relax and recover actually does better for me in the long run, and my wellness. Just I have more energy later. I'm more prepared to do better at a workout. So reminding myself that the rest is just as important as the work itself. And I think that's a principle we honestly used to say in Pure Barre a lot. Next topic is spiritual. Some of the things that have really been helping me just kind of in spiritual growth and formation. First is Ben Stewart and the Passion City DC sermons. I have followed Ben Stewart for a long time. I really love the way he preaches. He's very practical and teaches the Bible with such clarity while it's very approachable. So his sermons, he uses a lot of his personal experiences to really illustrate what it is the Bible is teaching, but he always comes back strictly to scripture, which I really, really appreciate. So you can find, they have a podcast as well as on YouTube. Highly recommend. He recently did an entire series around money that was really freeing and helpful for me. Secondly, I have been re-listening to the People live on tour from Madison Square Garden by Hillsong United. I used to listen to this album back when my mom was really, really sick and shortly thereafter. And those songs themselves are so, so powerful. They definitely bring up a lot for me, but I think even placing myself actually, it was the first big kind of concert outing I had after my mom passed, and I hadn't been to church and didn't know how to worship, and they came to Jacksonville, and it was the first time I really had opened up and remembered what it's like to worship God. And so listening to the live version, hearing them talk and pray, and also thinking of the hub of New York City being filled with the praises for the Lord. It's just, there's something really powerful in it. So I've been returning to that. Thirdly, Always and Forever will have CeCe Winans playing. She just released a new live album as well, and it is really, really beautiful. Her voice is so pure but so commanding, and the way she repeats songs and sounds of truth is just so, so good for me to remember all the time. Right now in the Bible, I'm really loving Proverbs. Going back through the Proverbs and just receiving the practical wisdom that's weaved all throughout that book of the Bible has been eye-opening. It's been challenging. And I think it's where the Bible can feel overwhelming of, I don't understand the history or I don't know the context. Proverbs are really straightforward in as to how to live the Christian life well. Last in this category is the book Fighting Shadows by John Tyson and Jefferson Bethke. It is a book that is geared towards men to fight the shadows in their lives, but I really love and listen to a lot of John Tyson as well. And I've listened to Jefferson Bethke on a few things, but the book itself has been informative for me in how to pray for men in our generation, in all generations, but understanding from their perspective, what is the unique challenge that men face right now? And instead of maybe stepping back and thinking, I don't understand them, I don't get this, being challenged to actually pray for them in it. So it's been really informative and kind of it's that break my heart for what breaks yours, God, reminding myself that there's a place that I can intercede and lean in and pray. So whether you're buying the book for a man in your life, or you also want to get it yourself just to understand and better learn what are the challenges that men face right now and how to pray through it, I think it's a hugely helpful resource. And the final category is what I am learning, 5 things I'm learning. First, kind of ties into that book, but pray about everything. I've been really challenged and convicted that as much as I can talk or ask for advice or lean into trusted mentors, prayer, I want to be my first response in everything. And silly example of it was the other night. We've had really, really bad rainstorms recently in Jacksonville this summer, and I was home by myself, and the lightning felt like it was inside the house, and the thunder kept rolling on and on and on, and felt like it was genuinely shaking the foundation of my house. And I just kept praying, mercy, Lord, mercy, Lord, mercy, Lord, simply because I was afraid. And it quickly passed and blew over. And I'm just reminded that in the small things, like being scared of the weather and being home by yourself, and in the big things, like what's going on in our country, what's going on in the world, I know that, yes, I can jump to action and be a part of a solution, but ultimately I want to trust God to be the one that is in control, and prayer puts me in the position to say, I'm dependent on you to make a change. And that has been hugely helpful. That's also been a really sweet part of Mary Claire and I's relationship. We kind of spoke about this the last time she was on, but we've been praying together almost every morning, and just kind of reminding each other of the promises as well as God's faithfulness, even in the midst of days that we're just frustrated. But prayer being central has been huge for me. Secondly, being honest with God about where you really are. At our church, Pastor Joby always says, the fake you is doing just fine. And it's really easy to put on a mask to show everybody that you want to feel good about your life, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's really where you are. And I've been just reminded more and more that being honest with God allows him to really step in. The Bible shows us so many examples of people being brutally honest with where they are. And my counselor always reminds me that Jesus's presence is only possible in the present. So being right where I am, confessing my struggles, confessing my sin, confessing my desires still, or even telling him the places where I'm really grateful or celebrating. I think that is really how we grow in relationship to God, is being exactly right where we are. Third is worship, even when I don't want to. In those moments that I am challenged by my circumstances or frustrated that things haven't changed, I can sit in that sadness or try to escape through social media. And we all do those things and none of them are awful. But when I can turn on worship music, it really does change the environment. It calls me to a higher place, and it settles me back in the foundation that he is the one in control. And ultimately, he is good and has good for me. Fourth is steadfastness builds character. I am honest all the time, especially on this podcast, that there are still things in life that I'm hoping for, praying for, desire so deeply. And there are a couple of days where I just kind of want to give up, where I want to stop hoping, where I want to stop believing. But I'm thankful that I'm able to look back at myself a year ago, 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. And while not perfect, I have remained on a path trying to follow the Lord, and that has built my character and changed me so much and in invaluable ways that I'll never be able to really count. And I want to continue on a path that says I chose to continue to believe and follow God, even when it didn't look the way I thought it would, just to see where that leaves me, because I know ultimately he changes my heart, my eyes, the way I see things, and I want to continue in that. And lastly, the thing that he is reminding me most is that he is doing a new thing. I can definitely lean on almost holding God to past experiences, believing, well, you didn't do this, so you're probably not going to do it again. Or you let me down, what I felt like this time, and I am scared to trust you again. Or I had hope, and instead I just was left heartsick. And he has been reminding me of Isaiah 43:19, which says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." He's really calling me to say, that was then and this is now. And I can go back and trace his faithfulness, absolutely. But in the places that I want to believe that my current season is going to be exactly like the previous season, he's calling me to step out and see that he has something brand new for me. Something that I may never have experienced before, or maybe a situation that might look the same on the outside, but my heart is so different. And I want to trust him and believe that he is still doing a new, gracious, and good thing. And friends, I really hope and believe that for you too. In this place where we're right in the middle of summer, but everyone's already starting to put out back to school or Halloween or rushing along this time, I would love for you to sit and savor what are your favorite things in this season. Write out those lists of things that are bringing you joy or are challenging you right now. And trust that God is doing a new thing in your life, a new and beautiful thing, that he will bring beauty out of the wilderness, whatever that may look like in your life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be sure to share a bunch of links to all of this stuff, and I hope you found this fun. I, again, would love to hear about what topics you want to talk about on the podcast, what people you want me to talk about, and I would love for you to just share whatever it is that you hope or love about this podcast. It really is such an encouragement, and I want this place to be a community where we can lift one another up and share the hope from each of our stories. Please make sure you follow the show on Instagram at Share Your Story with Ellie
Follow me while you're at it, and I would love to hear some of your feedback on today's episode as well as past episodes. And be sure to come back here on Thursday for a brand new episode. I know you're going to love this conversation. We'll talk to you soon.